Hi guys and welcome to my channel. In this video my topic is coordinate geometry, but it's really geared to my Form 3 students, right? So what I mean is that I want to teach you all the basics, like how do you interpret the graph paper, how do you know where to put your x and your y axes, how to label your x-axis, your y-axis, and so on, and how, lastly but not least, how to plot points. So I really hope that you'll stay tuned to see what you can learn from this video. Thanks guys. This is my first example. Now I have here example 1, and they say use graph paper to draw these axes, where x going from -6 to 6 and y going from -6 to 6 as well. And they say they want us to use a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on both axes, right? And lastly, they want us to plot these points. So this is the last thing I'm going to deal with, how to get the points. The first thing I want to deal with is how to even figure out where to put the x-axis and the y-axis. The x-axis, for those of you all who don't know, is a horizontal line. It could be drawn like this. Now, of course, excuse my line, it's a little wobbly. It's supposed to be a straight line. The y-axis could be here, like this. Now, of course, the y-axis, or solid lines like this, it could be here, like this, or here, and so on, right? The point is, it's just supposed to be two lines, right? One, the horizontal would be the x-axis, and the vertical would be the y-axis. Now, when we do this, from doing this now, this point here in the center would be called the 0, and then we mark off the scale. Now, if I counted, say, every 5 lines or so, I call that unit 1, then 2, 3. I will have to continue with 5 lines for my spacing going down the line here. Similarly, on this side, if I did 5 lines, I'll have to go 5 lines here and keep going like this. Now, of course, the way that I'm scribbling here is not drawn to scale, but I just wanted to give a quick run through on how it is it's supposed to look. Now, the same way as how my x-axis will be scaled, the same spacing, positive axis and the negative part of it, the same way it will be for the y-axis. So up here now, if I went say 10 lines and call that unit 1, the first unit 2, and 3 and so on, then down here we'll be counting in negative values, and it will be the same spacing, 10 lines going down and so on, right? So now, in our question, is that what they asked for? No. They said let 1 centimeter represent 1 unit. So 1 centimeter, guys, is actually the space from one solid line like this and 5 of these these lighter lines. So that distance here is 1 centimeter, which is not what I did for the y-axis. So let me start with this question here. To draw an x-axis line, so it says that it's going from -6 to 6 and -6 to 6 on the y-axis. So it looks like that would have to be a TJ code, right? So I could probably go, say, I don't know, from here, and draw a straight line going like that. Okay, right? So I'll adjust this and make this my x-axis. It's much better, right? A nice straight line. And similarly, I'll put my y-axis. Now, seeing that the scale is the same, -6 to 6 and -6 to 6, I just kind of want it to be a symmetrical graph. Meaning I don't want my y-axis to be like one this side or one that side. I just want it to be around here, in the middle here, right? So now I'm just straightening up these. Now, all of this should be done in pencil, in case you make mistakes and you need to erase. Now, when they said 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on the x-axis, right? So here, since the 2 meet at this point, I'll call here 0. So 1 centimeter is really 5 of these small lines, so that'll be around here. So I'll put a 1. Next 5 lines would be a 2. Next 5 lines, 3. And you keep going until what number, guys? Until 6. Because that's what they asked for. They said go until 6. Now, on this side, what am I doing? Same thing. -1 now, every 5 lines. And I'm counting until what number? -6 again. So, I repeat this. And I'm finished with this piece here. Doing this scale from X. Now, we're doing this now. For the Y, again, 5 lines. Only because they use the same scale for both axes, right? So, we're doing this. And, of course, we're doing the bottom as well. And we're counting just like a number line. It'll be negative at the bottom here. Now, it's always good to use like a very sharp pencil for this. So I tend to use push point pencils for this one, for construction lines, right? Now, we're finished with our scales, right? So we've done this piece. Now let's start the plot. So A is the point 6 minus 4. So 6 minus 4 would be 6 on the x-axis and minus 4 on the y-axis. So where is 6 on the x-axis? That's here. So this whole line, excuse my lack of being straight here, this whole line here that I'm erasing now is where x is 6. So that is where x is equal to 6. Where y is equal to minus 4 is actually down here, horizontal line going across like this. So where these two lines, and that's the beauty of a graph paper, we don't need to draw these dotted lines like what I did. Where these two lines would have met would be here at this point here. So that would be the point A, which is 6 minus 4. So it's always nice to put a nice neat dot like this. Put and label your point. Don't just leave your point and leave it like that. No, put the letter that you have and put the point, the coordinate it's supposed to be. So this is perfect way to draw your point, right? Now we'll repeat the process. B now is 6, 1. So that's 6 again on the x and y on the 1 on the y. So 1 on the y would actually be 6 on the x and 1 on the y would be here. So that would be B, which is 6, 1. And now we repeat the process. C is 2, 5. So that's 2 on the x, 5 on the y. So that's here. 2 on the x is this whole line, 5 on the y is this whole line. So where they meet would be here. So that's C, 2, 5. And then we continue. D is minus 5, 3. So it's minus 5 on the x, 3 on the y. So that's here. Notice minus 5 is this whole long line here. 3 is this whole long line going here. And the place where they connect is actually here. So D is minus 5, 3. And lastly, E is minus 5 minus 4 will actually be here. What I see here is that I have my 5 points and now I could just connect them with some lines. So I'm going to do that now. After connecting the points with some lines, this is the shape that I got, right? So I hope that you'll understand what I did. Now let me move on to example 2. So now we're on to example 2. Example 2 says now we're using a graph paper again to draw these axes for x and y. Now x is just from 0 to 5. So it means that I don't need a negative value for x, right? So I don't need the negative section. And y is from negative 10 to 20. So I do need part of the negative section for y. And a scale of 2 centimeters for 1 unit on the x-axis and 1 centimeter for 5 units on the y-axis. And once we have done that, we will do plot these 3 points here, which of course will be last, right? So now let's start with our axes, x and y. So if x is going from 0 to 5, it means that I just simply need the section of x that goes like this and say why the y-axis could go like this. So I don't need this section here, right? Now, of course, excuse my bent lines, but this is just a rough scale, a rough sketch that I do before I actually get into figuring out how to draw up this on a graph paper, right? So drawing it up properly with straight lines, I would get something like this, where here would be 0. So now let's go 0 to 5 for the x-axis, and the scale is 2 centimeters to 1 unit on the x-axis. So we know here to here is 1 centimeter, so there is actually 2 centimeters. So here it will actually be 1, 2, and I'll keep going until I go to 5. So that's what they mean by 2 centimeters to 1 unit. Now, of course, you have to write that too. I think I forgot to mention that in the graph before. So you'd have to write your scale 2 centimeters equal 1 unit on x-axis, right? Now, the next thing we do is the y-axis. The y-axis is 1 centimeter to represent 5 units. So here's 1 centimeter mark. So I'll put 5 here, then I'll put 10, and I'll keep going. And I'm counting just like this until I get up to the value they want, which is 20. So I'll stop right here. It's okay if you went higher up, but you should not go lower down. You should not have anything less than 20. Now, similarly, this side will just have the negative values, and I'll go to the value they want, minus 10. So this, everybody, is how my graph is supposed to look. Again, I'm supposed to label my graphs, x and y, and have my scale now for my y-axis written right up here as well. I'm ready to plot my points. A is 1, 6. So A is 1 and 6 on, 1 on the x-axis and 6 on the y-axis. So 1 on the x-axis is easy. That's this solid line here, going down like that. Excuse the fact that I'm not straight here, right? And go straight down here too as well. And 6 is where? Now this is 5. So if I'm counting in 5s here, and I have 5 lines here, that means here's 1, this line here is 2, and so on. So 6 will just be the one line above 5. So I have to be very careful in how I'm plotting because I don't want it to be on the other line, like 7, the line 7 or so. So this is where I'll write my 1, 6. I hope you all understand that. That is where x is 6 and x is 1 and y is 6. Y is 6 here on the line that is the same sort of darkness as the line for 5, but one line right above that line for 5, right? So that is A16. Now B now is 4, 8. 4 again on the x-axis is this long line here, and 8 will be 2 lines below 10, right? Because we're counting in ones like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and so on. So B now will be 4, 8 like that. And lastly, C is 3, 18. So that'll be 3, 9 here. And 18 will be again 2 lines below 20. So right there. Now, if you end up going on the wrong line, that could, mess up your whole graph, right? So now the last thing I need to do is just connect my dots. Everyone is what I will get when I connect my dots and I have the shape a triangle, and that's it. So I hope that you all have understood what I did today. I hope that you follow, and I hope that I've made it easier for you all. So feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.